Hello and welcome to Scientifically Speaking. We have a good video today, mainly because mainstream science is again only catching up, but it's such a revelation in electromagnetic theory that, I have to show that I have already said all this by the inspiration of God. So, before we get to all that, let's have a look at what is a true man of God. What is a prophet? The word is a noun. Number one, a person who speaks for God or a deity or by divine inspiration. Two, in the Old Testament. A person chosen to speak for God and to guide the people of Israel. Moses was the greatest of Old Testament prophets. B, one of the major or minor prophets as shown in the Bible. C, one of a band of ecstatic visionaries claiming divine inspiration and, according to popular belief, possessing magical powers. D, a person who practices divination. 3, one of a class of persons in the early church, next in order after the apostles, recognized as inspired to utter special revelations and predictions. 1 Corinthians 12:28. Number 4 says the Prophet Muhammad, the founder of Islam. Unfortunately, if you read about him, you will find that he was a paedophile, misogynistic slave trader who acted rather bizarrely in many situations. He was not a prophet. He was a man taking the Bible, mashing it all together so that he could have sex with young children and many wives, which goes against what the true creator actually says about life. Number 5, a person regarded as, or claiming to be, an inspired teacher or leader. Number 6, a person who foretells or predicts what is to come. Now, I've said quite a lot of things on this list, so you'd think I'd have information to back it up, and obviously to all my dear brothers and sisters in Christ, you know what I've said is correct, and after today your mind's going to be absolutely blown away. So, all right, what I'm going to first do is go through what I've said, show a couple of pictures from my videos. I've only included maybe 7 pictures and 2 little screenshot videos, and then we will go through what mainstream science has discovered as such a revelation in electromagnetism, and that if they could use it and control it, it would be immensely profitable. All right, let's do it. I've said that all energy moves the same way, through all matter. It doesn't matter what medium it's in, it always does the same thing. It goes from a vortex to a halo wave, and this forms a ring. I've said that on a magnet, a halo wave will form what everybody else believes is called a torus. But a torus is a donut and it has no in and out. A halo wave starts in the middle, spreads to the side, one goes clockwise, one goes counterclockwise, one goes left, one goes right. They intertwine with one another so that there is both counterclockwise and clockwise in each side of the halo wave, like a set of horns. They spin around to the front and they lock together, like a pair of arms, held out and you holding your fingers. That's a halo wave, and that's on a magnet. There is no such thing as a torus. It is a magical object with no way of being formed because there's no in or out. A halo wave is the same as your arms or a smoke ring. You have 2 lungs, one right rotation, one left rotation, a double helix. This combines in your throat, and then when you blow out, it forms a smoke ring. So on screen is, on the left, is the vortex. This energy vortex will carry along like this until it meets an energy or matter barrier. Then it will turn into the picture on the right, and it will have a rollover halo wave. This means it's literally like pouring water onto a plate. The energy hits an energy or matter barrier and must roll over to machine what it's going through. And then obviously at the bottom, these are as if you would slice the halo wave in half. So those, the little stick drawing at the bottom, that is a complete torus. But it's not a torus, it's made from halo waves, as you can see above. I have a slice, a side view, and a front view there, so you can understand the configuration. This is what I've said from the very beginning, and I said it's what God showed me. He showed me a golden double helix, and then this golden double helix went into everything as a double helix vortex. Once I understood that, God then showed me that when it hits an energy or matter barrier, it must perform a rollover halo wave to be able to machine what it's going through and get through it. This is a magnet that is sat on its inertial line, and so north is facing to me and south is facing away. I have several videos like this saying that there are electromagnetic rollover halo waves on either side of the magnet, and they meet at the inertial line. During my experiments with water, this proved to show that there is a torus ring and a halo wave on either side of the magnet, and the picture above is a magnet underwater with approximately 1 millimeter of water above it. This shows two concentric ovals which meet at the inertial line. Because this is a slice through a round donut shape, you get the oval. But there are two here, sat one on top of another, one on the north face and one on the south face. And so again I have proven that there are double halo waves on a magnet. I have said that light and magnetism travelled the same way. If you put in the titles of these videos, hopefully it should show up. On screen is light through a glass of wine showing the halo wave. And I've said that light and magnetism move the same way, water and magnetism move the same way, smoke and magnetism move the same way. It is always vortex to halo wave, then back to vortex. I said that the pyramids were designed as a magnetic object, probably to recreate like a mountain, so that you could stay out of the electromagnetic radiation that will be coming from the sun when it goes micronova. And these things were brought to sustain and protect people. I also said that it's exactly the same as a magnetic field, and if you look in the center there, it said pyramid steps are electromagnetic ring steps. So I've already said, at least 3 years ago, that magnets have ring steps on them which form like a pyramid, and that's the drawing of it. This is halo wave stacked on a halo wave stacked on a halo wave, because vortex to halo wave is how a magnet is constructed, and I have not changed this opinion of all energy travel through all materials. Here I show my video of vortex wave vortex, which is all energy travel, and that's what I'm saying. On screen is the picture of a stream of water from a tap. This is quite important to what you're going to learn from mainstream science in a minute about smoke rings and water, which is everything I've always said. On this video, I then put my hand there and showed that it turns into a rollover halo wave, goes around my hand, and then turns back into a vortex. I then explain on this video that that main direct beam, just like a Birkeland current, will drill through my hand in the end. That's what it's designed to do. When it turns into a halo wave, machining occurs and a crater is created. And then I've spoke about all plant life, and that the reason that flowers and plants display a magnetic signature is because all life is grown from electricity and magnetism. And I've said that every plant on Earth is like an electrostatic expression of energy, which is then changed into different varieties of flora and fauna due to the code that is written within the seed. And then the same energy is displayed as a different expression in every single plant. And of course, I've done videos about the human body. Your legs are a halo wave from your heart. Your arms are a halo wave from your heart. You have an energy point and a hole at the top of your body, and you have an energy point and a hole at the bottom of your body, which would be reproduction and ridding yourself of waste. And the other end is taking energy in and thinking. These are both holes and vortex points. Your brain is a vortex point. Your genitalia is a vortex point. One is, for females, it's inside out and inverted, and the wrong way round. Well, it's not the wrong way round, but you get what I mean. This next one is where energy meets matter, which is where water is pouring into a bowl, with ash in it so that you can see the Ouroboros field and how it rotates. That's called energy meets matter, Ouroboros field rotation confirmed. And this has vortices and anti-vortices within the halo wave that you describe as a torus. It is not a torus. It is many leaders and streamers going in and out, and they pull matter both clockwise and counterclockwise. This is going to be very important. Vortices and anti-vortices means one going one way and one going another. And this supposed torus here contains both. It sends matter one way and it sends it the other. I also have a video with a piece of string that I push into the Ouroboros field, and it rotates within the ring as a double helix, like all waves, which is quite interesting. I haven't brought that up because I'd be showing you every single video I've got. That's the whole point of me making videos. So that is an Ouroboros torus field. It's got nothing to do with torus. I'm just letting you know so you have an inkling of what I'm talking about. I know many people who have arrived at my channel and have been here for years understand all this. This is just for new people to show that, yes, I've always known what I'm talking about. Vortex coming down, hits an energy matter barrier and turns into a halo wave, a rollover halo wave. And finally, I'm going to show a 55-minute video, not all of it obviously, only a few seconds, of Anthony Peratt's plasma discharge. And then I'm going to show you the same thing in water, a heteromac discharge, which is vortex, to Ouroboros field, back to vortex.
Okay, today we're going to be talking about heteromacs, which are a plasma type discharge instability, and it's what I've been talking about the whole time. Now, a heteromac is a plasma discharge instability. Heteromacs can include filamentary, cellular and bubble-like clusters. I normally call this a vortex to a rollover halo wave, but apparently it's a heteromac, so I will use that term. Now, what I've done next is to step frame by frame through the destruction and construction. So I don't know what happened, so I can't fully explain why it all exploded. But this is a step-by-step frame account of exactly what is happening. And as you can see, you have your backbone through the middle, and then you have your ribs. So actually, incidentally, this is how your body, backbone and ribs are grown.
So as you can see, in acoustic levitation, you get vortex to ring to vortex. And yes, that's how your body is grown, by electromagnetism, because it keeps making this shape. That's the whole point. Energy through matter always does the same thing. It just depends on what the matter is configured to display the electromagnetic expression of God through. Okay, this is where when you go back through from physics.org or whatever it was, then you get to the University of Cambridge, and then you get to nature physics. So in nature physics, experimental observation of vortex rings in a bulk magnet. And there's all the names and 2020 nature physics. Here is the abstract. So this should click a lot of people's minds into the things I have just said. Vortex rings are remarkably stable structures that occur in a large variety of systems, such as in turbulent gases, where they are the origin of weather phenomena, fluids with implications for biology, electromagnetic discharges and plasmas. Although vortex rings have been predicted to exist in ferromagnets, they have not yet been observed. Using X-ray magnetic nanotomography, we imaged three-dimensional structures forming closed vortex loops in a bulk micromagnet. The cross-section of these loops consists of a vortex-anti-vortex pair. So the cross-section of the loop has clockwise and counterclockwise in it. And on the basis of magnetic vorticity, a quantity analogous to a hydrodynamic vorticity, we identify these configurations as magnetic vortex rings. Although such structures have been predicted to exist as transient states in exchange ferromagnets, the vortex rings we observe exist as static configurations. Just like my pyramid magnet with its rings, a static configuration. And we attribute their stability to the dipolar interaction. In addition, we observe stable vortex loops intersected by point singularities. This would be like a Birkeland current in space where there's a z-pinch. So yeah, that's a z-pinch because all energy acts the same. And every magnetic field is a Birkeland current. Electricity and magnetism are exactly the same thing. Electrical vortex goes vertical and a magnetic web is horizontal. Or even if it's a tube, it's horizontal. So we observe stable vortex loops intersected by point singularities, of which the magnetization within the vortex and anti-vortex cause reverses. So they go from being clockwise and counterclockwise to counterclockwise and clockwise, which I have shown in one of my seed pod videos, where I show why and how a seed is placed on either side of the seed pod. It was very simple and it was brilliant. Thanks, Lord. We gain insight into the stability of these states through field and thermal equilibration protocols. The observation of stable magnetic vortex rings opens up possibilities for further studies of complex three-dimensional solitons in bulk magnets, enabling the development of applications based on three-dimensional magnetic structures. So it's quite important. So everything I've ever said for 6 odd years now, since 2014, has turned out to be true. Many said I was a lunatic, said I was mad, said I should stop pretending to do some science. If anybody wants to debunk my videos, you go right ahead, but you'll be debunking yourself because everything I've done is science. And this goes back to Simon Dan talking about why conspiracy theorists are allowed to use science against science. It's because you're a numpty, you don't know diddly squat about science, and you need to be shown that what you think is abjectly and provably incorrect. So I'd like to give a shout out to Simon Dan to tell me where I went wrong with all my videos about electromagnetism. I'm just throwing that one in there because he's annoying me that he said that people like me shouldn't be allowed to use science against science. So this prophet of God, who has always said he got everything from God and has displayed it to everybody else, has been proven correct to have had contact with the true living God, because everything I've ever said came true. Okay, so here's where the paper made it to the University of Cambridge, and we're going to go through it. So research magnetic vortices come full circle. The first experimental observation of three-dimensional magnetic vortex rings provides fundamental insight into intricate nanoscale structures inside bulk magnets and offers a fresh perspective for magnetic devices. And in quotation marks there it says, one of the main puzzles was why these structures are so unexpectedly stable, like smoke rings. They are only supposed to exist as moving objects. Now, I've categorically stated that these rings are on magnets and on pyramids for a long time. I've said that they are exactly like smoke and they are exactly like water pouring onto a bowl and creating a Ouroboros field. So what's supposed to exist and what does exist, they have now discovered. But again, people called me a loony, and that was talking out my backside because I said all energy moves the same way through all matter. Magnets often harbour hidden beauty. Take a simple fridge magnet. Somewhat counterintuitively, it is sticky on one side but not the other. The secret lies in the way the magnetisation is arranged in a well-defined pattern within the material. More intricate magnetisation textures are at the heart of many modern technologies such as hard drives. Now, an international team of scientists from the University of Cambridge, the Paul Scherrer Institute, Zurich, the Donetsk Institute for Physics and Engineering in the Ukraine, and the Institute for Numerical Mathematics, RAS, in Moscow have discovered unexpected magnetic structures inside a tiny pillar made of the magnetic material GdCO2. The researchers observed sub-micrometer loop-shaped configurations which they identified as magnetic vortex rings. Far beyond their aesthetic appeal, These textures might point the way to further complex three-dimensional structures arising in the bulk of magnets and could one day form the basis of new technology applications. Their results are reported in the journal Nature Physics. Now, it's saying three-dimensional structures arising in the bulk of magnets. Well, that's what I said about a dandelion and the shape of it and the shape of a magnet. That's the whole point. Flowers are a three-dimensional structure arising in bulk magnets. Same as you are. You are a bunch of magnets stuck together to provide the basis for the shape you are. Determining the magnetization arrangement within a magnet is highly challenging, in particular for structures at the micro and nanoscale, for which studies have been typically limited to looking at a shallow layer just below the surface. That changed in 2017 when researchers at PSI and ETH Zurich introduced a new X-ray method for the nanotomography of bulk magnets, which they demonstrated in experiments at the Swiss light source. That advantage opened up a window into the inner life of magnets, providing a tool for determining three-dimensional magnetic configurations at the nanoscale within micrometer-sized samples. Now, you could use this to build a false body, a fake body, by understanding how to grow it using electromagnetism. Using these capabilities, the researchers ventured into new territory. The stunning loop shapes they observed appear in the same GdCO2 micropillar samples in which they had before detected complex magnetic configurations consisting of vortices. So they had a vortex, and then they found a rollover halo wave. The sort of structures seen when water spirals down from a sink, that would be the vortex, and their topological counterparts, antivortices. So you're talking clockwise and counterclockwise, which is what I explained years ago. That was a first, but the presence of these textures has not been surprising in itself. Unexpectedly, however, the scientists also found loops that consist of pairs of vortices and antivortices. So they have a rollover halo wave, which has counterclockwise and clockwise in either side, but reversed. That observation proved to be puzzling. With the implementation of novel, sophisticated data analysts techniques, which obviously I didn't need, they eventually established that these structures are so-called vortex rings. In essence, donut-shaped vortices. So you have vortex, donut, vortex. But you don't, because there's no such thing as a torus or a donut-shaped vortex. You can have a donut-shaped vortex, but it's not a torus, and that's why they're not saying it, I think. They're calling it a vortex ring. It's a rollover halo wave. Vortex rings are familiar to everyone who has seen smoke rings being blown. I have smoke videos explaining this very thing. And who has watched dolphins producing loop-shaped air bubbles, again coming from lungs, forming a ring vortex. They make loop-shaped air bubbles for their own amusement as much as to that of their audience. The newly discovered magnetic vortex rings are captivating in their own right. Not only does their observation verify predictions made some 2 decades ago, setting the question whether such structures can exist, they also offered surprises. In particular, magnetic vortex rings have been predicted to be a transient phenomena, but in the experiments now reported, these structures turned out to be remarkably stable. And I've said this is in everything from our atmosphere, vortex, halo wave, vortex, halo wave, and at the point of these is a crossover Z-pinch, which is why they said there was a point of matter at the intersection where the rotation changed from either clockwise to counterclockwise or counterclockwise to clockwise. It's a current sheet change, just like we've been speaking about with suspicious observers. It's a current sheet crossover point from clockwise to counterclockwise, and if there's one coming from the sun, that is why the earth will stagger like a drunken man and sway like a shack in the wind. Because if it goes through a vortex crossover point, it's going to stop turning counterclockwise and it's still going to start turning clockwise. And then the seas, because they're liquid and moving in the wrong direction, will then cover the land and cause mud floods and general catastrophe. One of the main puzzles was why these structures are so unexpectedly stable. Like smoke rings, they are only supposed to exist as moving objects. Said Dr. Claire. Well, is that a woman? I hope not. I hope that's a bloke called Claire. Said Dr. Claire Donnelly from Cambridge's Cavendish Laboratory, and the paper's first author. Through a combination of analytical calculators and considerations of the data, we determined the root of the stability to be the magnetostatic interaction. The stability of magnetic vortex rings could have practical implications. For one, they could potentially move through magnetic materials as smoke rings move stably through air or air bubble rings through water. Learning how to control the rings within the volume of the magnet can open interesting prospects for energy-efficient 3D data storage and processing. This is interesting in the physics of these new structures too, as magnetic vortex rings can take forms not possible for their smoke and air counterparts. The team has already observed some unique configurations, and going forward, their further exploration promises to bring to light yet more magnetic beauty. So here they are talking about energy-efficient 3D data storage. No, it means you can grow anything, you could 3D print anything. That's what it means. This is to construct a body in the end. This is the lifelong dream of the elite, is to be able to swap bodies. So if you knew how to grow a body, you could be transferred to it. So, and again, you can call me a conspiracy theorist, and I shouldn't be allowed to say things like that, but I'm sorry, that's where it leads. As a prophet, images appear in my head. Where are they coming from? I said they're coming from God. I just explained the Emerald Tablet, and I'd never even looked at it. The whole length of that video that you saw me do on the Emerald Tablet, I did that then. I didn't do any bloody research. It plainly states it's electromagnetism. If that's the elixir of life, it's energy. So, there we go. Everything I've just read confirms everything I said I got from God. So if anybody wants to try and debunk any of my videos now, you're now battling yourself. So please, Simon Dan, come over here and have a butch, because you keep telling us all how fantastic you are, and your amount of followers and how many subscribers you've got is totally unjustified due to the fact that you don't know dick about life or science. I've just again proven that I'm the only man who's seen what magnets are doing, and this was because God showed me. Everybody else is using machines and data collection, analysis and AI. It's a little embarrassing. It's funny, and anybody who's ever learned from this channel knows that you can apply it to anything, vortex to rollover halo wave, because everything in existence has that shape and can be constructed from a vortex to a halo wave. Just like your eyeballs, with a hole in the middle. Your iris is a rollover halo wave. The white part is a roller halo wave. Energy came blasting out of your eyes. Let your eyes beam forward, said the Lord. Because we have light coming from us. We just can't see it. Thanks very much. My name is Lee. I follow the Christ. And I am confirmed again to be what I said I was. I am the small scroll opened and read out. Thanks very much. Bye.